Hi, I'm Mayor Thomas McDermott Jr., Mayor of the City of Hammond, Indiana, here to talk to you about the movie A Christmas Story, written by Mr. Gene Shepard. Gene Shepard's movie originally aired in 1983. 25 years later, we're celebrating the success of this story. Gene Shepard, Hammond, and A Christmas Story have a lot in common because he grew up in the Hessville neighborhood of our great city. He attended a school called Warren G. Harding Elementary School, which is still standing. He graduated from Hammond High School in 1939. That school is also still standing. He went on to become a famous radio personality in the 1950s, 1960s, and 1970s. Oftentimes during his radio shows, he would talk and long about his childhood days growing up in Hammond, Indiana. He then went on to write many stories, formed a book called In God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash. The stories in this book went on to become what we now call the movie, A Christmas Story. Hammond is very proud of Mr. Gene Shepard, obviously, for his great accomplishments. In 1981, Hammond awarded Mr. Gene Shepard with the Hammond Achievement Award, the highest award that the city could give to one of its residents. Then again, in 2003, we opened up a community center in his old neighborhood called the Gene Shepard Center. It was estimated last year on TBS that more than 45.5 million Americans watched this movie, A Christmas Story. Since 1997, TBS has aired this movie continuously for 24 hours during the holiday season. It's something that Hammond's very proud of, and I'm very glad that you're watching the show, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
It began in the 1930s on Cleveland Street in Hammond, when Gene Shepard was a boy. All Shepard wanted for Christmas was a Red Ryder BB gun with a compass in the stock. The story quickly grew into a phenomenon, and the phenomenon is the movie A Christmas Story. The movie, co-written by Gene Shepard, was based on his stories as a boy growing up in Hammond.
He talks about the traditional minor pleasures of growing up, and he depicts a typical family life and relationships: the kind mother, the annoying kid brother, the father who's a bit distant and stern, but who comes through in the end with the present Ralphie wants so badly.
Shepard was an author, actor, and a radio and TV personality.
When I was going to college, a fellow student suggested that I be interested in this fascinating guy who talked on the radio. You never knew what he was going to talk about. From night to night or from minute to minute, his storytelling and commentary, what I like to say is it constantly tickled your mind with a fascinating idea. He was intellectually stimulating. He was always unpredictable. He exaggerated, and he was funny. And from night to night, it was a totally new experience, and it was very, very entertaining. But he made a lot of comments about, gee, look, this is the way people actually act, isn't it? What he liked to say is that people were full of what he referred to as foibles, and that doesn't mean horrible characteristics. There's sort of a little bit of humor and caring and actually love of humanity in the imperfections that he found in people. And he liked to describe those strange things that people would sometimes do and suggest that they were both not quite the way an intelligent person should act, and yet they were sort of amusing and lovable quite often also.
But is most famous for his Midwestern tales in A Christmas Story. The movie, co-written by Gene Shepard, was based on his stories as a boy growing up in Hammond.
We didn't know. You know, it was a small movie on a very small budget, and you know, you just kind of hope that it gets a theatrical release, and you just see what happens. You know, none of us knew what was going to be up on that screen when we were shooting it. Back then, it was just we were making a little $4 million film, and, you know, hopefully everybody will be happy with the outcome.
Over 50 million people last year watched at least a part of it during the Christmas 24 hours beginning Christmas Eve at 8 p.m. That's a really startling figure.
Characters in the movie can also be traced back to Hammond. Jack Flickinger, the inspiration for Flick, lived on Cleveland Street in Hammond.
My father and Jean attended Warren G. Harding School at the same time, probably in the same grade, I think. And they knew each other as neighborhood kids. They probably did play together, especially on, pick up baseball, sandlot kind of stuff that people did back then. I don't think, though, that they were very close friends. I think he was born in East Chicago but moved to Hessville area pretty young. I know he went to elementary school in Warren G. Harding School in Hessville, and his father owned Flick's Tap, opened it probably right after the Prohibition, I'm guessing. The original location was the 165th and Kennedy Avenue.
Cam Lan Chinese Restaurant opened in 1938 at 5256 Holman Avenue.
When I first saw the movie, I thought maybe it was based in Hammond. There were just all the similarities. When I saw the department store in the movie, it did remind me of Goblet's. Goblet's had the big window displays with the Christmas scene, and so did the department store in the movie. And then the school, Harding School, was similar too. Cam Lan was the only Chinese restaurant in the area. It was open, I guess, when Jean Shepherd was a junior in high school. And then I guess the similarity between the restaurant in the movie and the real Cam Lan restaurant. It was tradition to serve the duck with the head on. However, my dad would, aim to please. If the customer did not want the head on, he would chop it off.
Paul Schwartz, or Schwartz, lived a few blocks away on Arizona Avenue, and Mrs. Shields, the teacher in the movie, lived on Lawndale in Hammond. Warren G. Harding Elementary School in Hammond was the grammar school where Shepherd attended as a boy, and also the location for the famous tongue on the flagpole scene in the movie.
Well, I think as time goes on and people look back at the 20th century and the people that have come out of the region, Jean Shepherd will be amongst the top personalities, and also, can I use the word legend? Because he is a legend. He will be seen even more as a legend because people like Jean Shepherd are rare people. If we can have the record that they created, their viewpoint of a certain time and place, and not only that, but a way to make their points of view universal, which is why I think a lot of people, most people, love The Christmas Story, because we all can relate to it. And I think that history will just become kinder and kinder to Jean Shepherd. And I'm sure 100 years from now, when people look back at this era, Shepherd will naturally rise to the top, along with several other legends that we have. Jean Shepherd is definitely a star for our region, and he will be seen as a star and a legend for centuries to come.
Residents are able to visit the Jean Shepherd Community Center in the Hessville neighborhood of Hammond. There is a wall dedicated to Shepherd's life and accomplishments. The community center opened in 2003 and hosts many events throughout the year. This November, the City of Hammond will hold events celebrating Shepherd's Christmas classic, A Christmas Story, which is also the 25th anniversary of the movie. The city is proud to have such a celebrated author from this region.
I'm Spiro Battistatos, President and Chief Executive Officer of the South Shore Convention and Visitors Association.
I'm Karen Maravilla, the President of the Downtown Hammond Council.
And we really appreciate you taking the time to learn a little bit more about the rich history here in Hammond and Lake County and what Jean Shepherd has brought to all of us around the world in his telling of A Christmas Story. We also hope you'll take a few moments to stop by the Indiana Welcome Center and enjoy our window display entitled A Christmas Story Comes Home.
This event helps bring Christmas back to downtown Hammond, so do please join us in downtown Hammond and see all the wonderful changes that have been taking place.
This is also a great opportunity to show pride in who we are and where you've grown up here in Lake County, Indiana. So go out, tell your friends, your family, and have everybody come down and see us here in Hammond for all the great things that are going on downtown, throughout the area, and in the Welcome Center. We thank you for your participation.